Okay, welcome to a new episode of the vlog. I am saying goodbye to the glorious Duncan showroom. Heading out. Gotta drop my good friend Ryan, who also did an awesome show here last night, off at the ferry in Nanaimo, and we're heading out, or I'm heading out at least, to Port Alberni. It's packing central here.
Getting ready for the next leg of Graham's tour here.
Yes, Ryan has told me he's a master of packing.
I pack well.
Yes, sounds good. It's all dark in here in the moment, but I do hope to be back as soon as possible. But it's time to hit the road. The time has come to say goodbye to my good friend Ryan, who we had just such a blast in Duncan, didn't we?
We did. It was a wonderful time, but it always breaks my heart to say goodbye, especially for this really extended tour that we did of the one gig.
Yes, I know.
So had a wonderful time at the Duncan showroom, and those people are amazing, and it was great hearing Graham live again. And he's did an amazing job since this whole time. Was fabulous. So.
It was an honor for me to be there for the debut of several of your 80s covers. It was fantastic.
That's right. First time played before a live studio audience.
Yeah. So now this is going to be really embarrassing if your ferry's full and you have to come back and we have to do this whole thing again.
Right.
Anyway, so glad to have you on this short portion of the tour.
Thank you.
Good to see you. Alright, I have tons of time to kill here. I'm on my drive over to Port Alberni, about 20 kilometers out, and I'm in this unbelievable forest, which is apparently quite a tourist attraction, because as you can tell, it's busy. Very busy. But I have lots of time, so I thought, get out of my car and look around. Here at McMillan Provincial Park. I have this weird memory of being here when I was a kid too. I think I might as well go around this trail and try to see if we can't see the giant Douglas fir. So, this sign says that in the early 19th century, David Douglas identified 200 new plant species, including the famous Douglas fir. And that most of the trees in this park sprouted up 300 years ago after a huge fire opened up most of this area. But the oldest and biggest trees are over 800 years old, nearly a millennium. People walking through this park 250 years ago seeing the exact same trees is pretty amazing to me. I was just reading a sign that said most of these big trees that came down did so during a major storm in 1997, and they just elected to keep these here to sort of keep the ecosystem going rather than gut the park of everything that came down. Fascinating. So this park has become a tourist attraction for people all around the world because it is just incredible how many truly massive trees are in here. I definitely remember being here as a kid, but totally wasn't even realizing this was along my drive. I'm so thrilled I had some time to spare. This one's gigantic, and I don't even think it's the biggest. I thought I'd stand next to it just for scale. I mean, I can't get a good angle on it from here, but this tree is so big. Good lord. It's insane how wide around this tree is. Wow. Went off the path slightly to this little oasis with this cute little creek flowing through it. And I've now come upon the great tree, the big tree they call it. The largest tree in the entire park. The sign says that when European settlers first came to North America, this tree was 300 years old. So roughly the size of most of the other trees here. Well over 500 years have gone by since then. And she still stands. I have a feeling that no windstorm could knock her down now. Wow. Many people have carved initials and stuff into this fallen tree. At first when I saw that I was like, come on. But I mean the tree is dead. I guess you're not really doing any lasting damage by doing that. Other than maybe aesthetically. Very glad I stopped here. How amazing is that? Wow. So it dates back to the 1100s. I can't even imagine that. That's crazy. Wow. Gonna celebrate its millennium 1,000-year birthday in about another century or so. This tree stump is evidently still living according to this sign. Though it is only a stump, its roots have grafted onto the roots of this tree, and it continues to grow, albeit in a slightly strange way. It almost looks vaguely like it has a face. Not really, but like, kind of. It's weird, some of these trees almost look larger than the other one. I guess it's not, but very close. And look at the tree that's come down behind it. That lived for hundreds of years, but I guess in a different way it's gonna live for even longer as a place full of nutrients for wildlife. This plant apparently is called Devil's Club due to its, hard to tell, but look at how pointy that is. Apparently they are kind of a nuisance to the trees, fighting with them for nutrients. And the early, not sure if this is a myth perpetuated by native people or by European settlers, but the myth is that these spikes are actually tipped with poison. They are not, but I still wouldn't want to grab one of these things. The one small complaint I have about this place is that they clearly haven't updated their signs in 20 years. When they talk about that windstorm that took these trees down, it acts like the storm just happened, and it was in 1997. And I just found the last piece of evidence that these signs are not recent by the fact that they refer to First Nations people as Northwest Coast Indian. Now, I don't know, especially in Canada, that term has not flown for a long time. Seems outdated even by 90s standards, so maybe it's time to update your sign. Wow, talk about history. Some remnants of the logging trade that used to exist here, but has long since been gone from this forest. These collapsed trees sure do give you a good view of the complex root structure of these enormous beasts. Oh, and look, you can see the pathway that some creature would have made on this leaf. That's cool. And the north end of this trail leads you to this beautiful lake. What a cool little place I just happened upon today. These have to be the largest root structures I've seen yet. Wow. More forestry remnants on this stump. Must have been cut down decades and decades ago. Imagine what a sight it would be to see one of these coming down. Wow. This was among the oldest trees in this entire park. Until in 1972, some arsonist came and set it on fire. And that was the end of its 800-year life. Isn't that great? Gotta love people. The ground here is almost entirely made up of these root fragments. Wow. Look at this. At first glance, this looks like a dead, hollowed out stump. Until you pan upwards, it is very much a living tree. I did not know this, but apparently all trees have a dead inner core. And this tree, it's hollow, seemingly all the way up. You can't see, it's pitch black in there. I can't even tell how high up it's hollow. Apparently it caught fire and it burned for several days. And somehow, apparently this type of tree is not known for being particularly resilient to fire. But, as most trees are not. But, this one, somehow, the fire did not damage the living outer part of the tree or the root system enough to kill the tree, and it lives on to this day. Got a vibrant canopy. If you looked up at the canopy, you would never know that the inside of the tree was charred and hollowed out. That's amazing. Apparently, clearly, this outhouse has a wasp's nest in it somewhere. It is absolutely buzzing with the things. It would appear to actually be inside these disused ventilation systems. Cool that they could have prevented that by just, you know, having a functioning ventilation system. Unless they clogged it from the inside. That's crazy. Anyway, I am so glad I did that. Totally was just gonna drive on by, but I saw that a lot of people were here checking out the forest, and I knew I had a couple hours to spare. So, thought I'd check it out, and I did. And thrilled that I did. And I spent so much time there, and so much time talking about the cool things I saw here, that I think I'm gonna make this a 2-part episode. So, that'll do it for this video, but check out part 2 for the continuation of my journey to Port Alberni. I'm almost in Port Alberni, but the day has only just begun, because it's show number 4 of my West Coast tour loop for August 2019. Check out part 2.